Hey everybody, what's going on? Josh from Kenwood here. And on today's workshop, I'm going to cover how to customize and expand your Kenwood products with 3 key features. So for 2 out of the 3 features we're going to be discussing, I'm going to be heading over to Kenwood University. Now, if you're not already signed up for this, I cannot encourage you enough to create your free account. Now, this is something that we monitor on a regular basis. Whenever you create this account, we will proof to make sure that you are one of our authorized dealers because we do not let just anybody into this. But if you can see here at the very top, we have a lot of different categories of different resources that are available for you. To discuss these 2 specific features, I'm going to head to our tech papers section. Now, the first one of these features that I'm going to be discussing is opening image customization. Now, if we type that into the search bar here, you'll see that we have a lot of different options that'll pop up. We can click this search icon, and it'll take us to these different results. Now, it's important to know that there are 3 different files that will be needed in order to achieve this on your receiver. Now, when you click this little blue link right here, that actually begins the download on what all of these are. I'm only going to download the first one. These other 2, you should absolutely check out if it's your first time doing this. The one in the middle here, the Pixel Former, this was actually created as a free resource for you to be able to follow along if you need to resize or reformat an image so that it's an acceptable file type to change this boot up screen. And then this one on the bottom, the TXT file, is something that has to live on the USB itself. Now, this will all exist and be seen whenever you open up these PDF instructions. So to kick it off, whenever you're creating this, you have to know first and foremost what size screen receiver you have. If you look at this section here, you'll see that our high-res screens need to have an image file size of 1280 by 720 pixels. Now, if it's an 800 by 480 resolution, then that will be found on a lot of our 7-inch and below screens that are not part of the Exelon reference family. It'll also break down the image format type, which in this case will need to be a BMP file, an image ratio, which will be R5, G6, and B5, and then the color type, which for this case we use 16-bit full color in order for the receiver to recognize this image. Now, once you've used whatever type of application it is that you're using to create these images, then we'll export them with these types of settings to this image file size for the proper ratios. And once we have that on our receiver, once we have that on our USB, then we can take a look at what we need to do on the receiver itself. So step 2 is to download that opening customized TXT file that we saw back in that text paper section. And then we want to copy the image and the file to a blank USB drive, which you can see here in step 3. After we've done that, we're going to access a hidden menu on our receivers. Now, if you follow these steps precisely by each one in its appropriate manner, you'll be able to get to this section and you'll notice that you need to select the standby source. Once we've done that, there's a sequence that we tap in the top left and the bottom left screen in order to access the hidden image or the hidden menu that will pop up here in step 5. Now, once we have that pulled up, the USB connected, we'll tap opening customize. Whenever we do that, you'll see in this section here on the right-hand side, we'll get a blue screen that says OK. And once doing so, when the receiver boots up, you'll have your own custom image that you can utilize on each and every Kenwood compatible model that you put in your car. Now, what's the advantage behind this? Obviously, this can be used as an upsell in some applications. A lot of dealers that I speak with use this to bill anywhere from a half hour to an extra hour labor. For example, a lot of your Porsche customers, your exotic cars, they love seeing their car's logo on this receiver screen whenever it's in the boot up menu. Now, personally, another advantage I see behind this is the ability to continue your branding and keep that featured every time your customer starts their car. Your shop's logo could be the first thing that they see on their Kenwood receiver. So if you didn't know about this before, I can't encourage you enough to sign into your Kenwood University account, pull up the steps to do this, maybe give it a practice on your own personal receiver in your car. And once you've got this refined, you can start using it as an upsell or as continued marketing for your store. Now, the second advantage that I want to talk to you about when we're discussing Kenwood products I'm going to go back into Kenwood University for, because I want to talk about remote expandability with our marine receivers. Now, with our marine products, you have two different options that can be found whenever we're looking at remotes. One of those is our KCA-RC35MR, which is a traditional analog connection that ties into the blue wire with a yellow stripe. Now, it's worth noting that we can add up to 6 of those on that connection in the event we need to expand that in different locations beyond the boat. However, the KCA-RC55MR, we can actually add in up to 3 of these. But more often than not, dealers aren't aware that there's a sequence required to program these remotes, and that can be found right here in Kenwood University. Now, again, we can type that into that search bar, and when this pops up, you'll see that same blue link where we can click this, start that PDF download. Once completed, we can open this up and follow each one of these steps in order to program these remotes. More often than not, when this happens, I get a phone call from the dealer saying they can get one to recognize, but not the other 1 or 2, because again, we can put up to 3 of these, to which I then direct them directly to what we're looking at right now, because this gives you a step-by-step on how to achieve this for our marine receivers. So step 1, we have to put the receiver in that standby mode. This is a very common practice with Kenwood products anytime we're making any kind of an adjustment or a change to how the product works. After doing that, we're going to initial settings, then remote settings, and then remote ID set. Using that volume knob, we're going to make sure that we see yes, that's going to indicate that this ID is already registered. No will indicate that this ID is available. Now, after we do that, you'll see this screen that says registering as we've selected that remote. Now, when we go to the remote itself, this requires a few different options, because traditionally, if we're just doing the 1, it will auto-detect. But if we're doing any of these up to 3, there's a different button that's pressed in order to register that for ID number 1, 2, or 3. So here you can see if we're going to do ID 1, we're going to press the enter button. If we're doing ID 2, we're going to press the source button. And if we're doing ID 3, we're going to press the display button. Once we're done with this, we can exit that, hold the back button on the receiver to take it back, and then those remotes are programmed. Now, what's really great about this is it allows you to continue expanding your Kenwood products, but also it allows us to have different areas of something like a boat where we can have direct access to our receiver. So let's say, for example, you're on the boat, you're swimming off of the back side of it, and you want to swim back up to the back side. We could have one of these remotes flushed in back there for quick and easy access to be able to have direct control of your Kenwood receiver from this remote. Or maybe you're at the front of the boat. We can also have another one of these remotes wired up there for ease and convenience for your customers, which at the end of the day is what we're all striving for. The easier and more convenient we can make any of our installations for our customers, the happier they're going to be, and the more they're going to continue to come see you. And for the third and final tip that I want to share with you guys today, I'm going to take you back to my mustache era for a video that I made discussing our Kenwood portal app and what's really cool and unique about it. So take a look. So we also introduced the Kenwood portal app. Now, the cool part about this app is it allows us to do 2 different things. The first one of those is create a custom slideshow that we can upload directly to the home screen of our new 10.1-inch receiver. It also allows us to upload a custom wallpaper. So let's go through this. I'll get you started and show you how this process is done. The first part is we want to open the Kenwood portal app itself. Now, when we do this, we'll see 2 different icons. The first one of these will show 3 images. The second one will show 1. So for a slideshow, we'll want to select the icon that shows multiple images being uploaded. Now, when we've done this, we're going to go to the bottom left corner. We'll click Import Photos. And then at the very bottom, let's say we just went on a trip and we want to look at some of the great photos we took while we were gone. So maybe it's a scenic view of where we were. Maybe it was some really cool photos outside of the airplane. Or maybe we were flying over California and wanted to remember that. We're going to highlight these, and then we're going to select the top right corner, which allows us to export these photos directly to the receiver itself. Now, once this has been completed, these photos will then begin to show up on your receiver's screen, as you may be able to see here in front of me. Now, for the second part, let's say we want to upload a custom wallpaper. So we're going to go to the icon that showed 1 image. Then after that, we're going to select the photo. So again, maybe it was a great image we took while we were gone. Maybe it was an overview from the mountains while we were in the plane. We're then going to tap that same section, the top right icon, and at that point, you'll wait for it to load, and it will have this image directly relayed to the receiver screen. Now, it's important to note, while this process is occurring, you'll notice two things. For the slideshows, you'll want to be on the third home screen option we offer. For the custom wallpaper, you'll simply swipe over to the left and have it in the middle icon, which will show that scenic view that you took while you were gone and traveling and want to share or keep as a wallpaper on your receiver.
Kenwood.
So it's important to note that the Kenwood Portal app has expanded since the time that I recorded this video originally. For compatibility, make sure to reference this crazy little piece of paper that we include in some packages, but also always found virtually, called the owner's manual of your product. Now, with that being said, I want to say thanks for taking the time to join me on this workshop, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.